What I can say after this episode is that cotton candy fucking slaps, Drunk Blitz is fantastic, and the ending caught me tremendously off guard. Seriously, that was thrown right at me. Nearly 21 months after Ozzy's release, we have finally truly finished Season 1 of Helluva Boss. As Viv had said, this episode was always intended to be more of a hooray, we're done with the first season, rather than a deep dive into what had just happened right before it, and because of that, my expectations weren't too high. So I was very much not prepared with how they blew me out of the water. My name is Limber, and if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single video that I upload. So let's get started. I knew everyone was excited about Beelzebub, but I didn't really put much thought into her character. It wasn't that I wasn't really interested, I just never thought much of the Seven Sins. But oh man, did she shine. And not to mention, Viv got to work with her favorite singer Kesha, who voiced this fiery queen. I love Bee's design, the color palette, mixed species, lava lamp hair, all of it. I like how they shied away from her being plus size because she's Gluttony's queen. And anyways, gluttonous isn't just eating, it's overindulgence of everything, which they execute with Bee really well using the alcohol. I also enjoy her personality. At first, she came off as a bit of a self-absorbed, condescending alcoholic who teases those beneath her, originally making me think, this bitch. But that's until you realize, no, those are just her mannerisms and how she interacts with people. Once you dive deeper into the episode, you discover she's actually very cool and caring of those at her party. An example is when Blitz begins to join the party. Bee had only started the drinking game for fun, but once Blitz takes it too far, she instantly falters, not because she's losing, but because he made a fun game into a way to solve his problems after having a night he says you won't believe. Bee also later warns Luna of the problems her father is causing out of genuine worry, rather than just worrying if she'll be able to keep the party going with him causing issues. And the only time Bee loses her cool was when Luna snapped, which, even given Bee's more laid-back nature, makes sense, because even someone below her in hell wants a certain level of respect. But once Luna backs down, so does she. I doubt she's the type to hold a grudge, especially when she apologizes to Tex for going overboard. But let's shy away from Bee for a minute and talk about Luna. When Luna showed up to this party, she'd already been having a feeling of self-doubt because, as she told Tex in Spring Broken, she doesn't have any friends, and now she's about to go into a party only knowing one person attending, and she'll most likely want to stick to him the whole time. And the one time she does try to socialize, she gets bashed for being known as Lunatic Luna, reminded of the last time she went to a party, and bashed again for calling that person a bitch. So yeah, blowing it on your first try isn't going to lift her spirits to continue. Her confidence doesn't truly drop until she's met with Beelzebub, who has what Luna craves: friends, popularity, and a sense of being well-liked rather than well-known, and Tex. And since she isn't familiar with this queen, her genuine words and actions come off as patronizing, which completely shatters the already little confidence she had that night, so she calls the person she can trust to take her home. But a compliment sends her back into the party, this time with a guest.
Okay, fine. Maybe one drink.
Okay, let's talk about Blitz. This man is already broken from earlier that night, and everyone knows he hates opening up. So while he's reluctant to go to this party, he does end up drinking much more than he'd planned at first, because if there's such a perfect cover-up for his issues such as getting wasted, he'll jump at that chance. In an incredibly desperate moment to push away his emotions, he competitively beats Bee at her own drinking game and internally lies to himself about feeling on top of the world after having been cheered on and told by Bee herself that she has to tip her crown to him. Not only does he drink himself to literal Narnia, he makes that with other people at that party. Wanting to prove himself desirable after feeling like a prince's corrupted acts ruin his own family, he takes on as much affection as possible at this party but pushes the people he's having fun with away before it could get much further than a tongue tie. Not as avoided commitment, but to get more and more people to prove that he could be captivating. All he needs is to lead them on just enough to get the validation that he requires before moving on to another person. Luna, now really seeing Bee's point, drives him home, and they have what is literally the cutest exchange between the two so far.
Do you need to throw up?
No.
Yeah, you do.
It's his pouty little no, alright. Once they're back in the place they call home, Blitz just barely spills the beans by simply telling Luna he had a bad day, who asks if that was the reason he got drunk off his ass, to which he responds, more talking to himself than he is to her, that Fizz was right, and that he'll die alone with no one by his side, asking Luna if she'll be there. As far as we know, Blitz's hallucination of Fizz and True Seekers had said he'll die alone, along with his other hallucinations, but not the real Fizzarelli. As many fans and I have been thinking, Fizz has probably said this to Blitz before, maybe during their fallout, and if that's the case, he was probably brought up specifically by Blitz because Fizz was his very close friend for years, and if they fell out when they were young adults or even older teenagers, then Fizz could have been the first person who really told him that. Luna, though slightly lost, reassures him that she'll be there for him and tells him to get some sleep. And the episode ends with Luna tucking her father to sleep, leaving him quietly mumbling the names of his loved ones he'd encountered at Ozzy's. Oh yeah, and this.
Fuck. Yeah, I did need to throw up.
This episode is absolutely fantastic. A fun ending to Helluva Boss's first season, and a debut for an already very interesting character. Great songs, laid-back plotline, and we finally got to see how Blitz handled Ozzy's. This episode, like Western Energy, also seems to be a target for antis, but I'd have to say it's even worse here given we've been told this is a spectacle episode and this wouldn't add much story. However, this is definitely my new favorite episode, and these people can hate all they want. If they want to look like idiots, so be it. Congrats to Viv and the Spindlehorse team for completing the crucial first season of Helluva Boss, and here's to the future seasons. My name is Liver, and I'll see you next time.